Deepwoken is a game known for having an open world with a very big sea, and is also known for its notoriously bad boss AI. Having bosses like the Duke of Arisia, Chaser, Scholar of Burning Blood, Kaido, also known as the Dread Serpent, shows how the game revolves around basically stat checking bosses. If you guys didn't know, stat checking basically means that you do nothing but M1 a mob to death. While you're M1ing the mob, you do nothing but tank all the hits that the mob deals to you. Even though these bosses require you to do a little bit more than just spamming M1, there is basically no difference between stat checking a mob and fighting a boss. An example of this is with the Duke of Arisia, where after getting rid of his shield, all you really need to do is just spam M1 him into a wall, and there isn't really anything he can do about it. Because of this, the more that you fight a boss, the more you will realize that there isn't anything special about the boss, and it's just a repetitive fight that you need to do if you want to get some sort of progression out of it. Even though each boss has its own problems, in this video I'll be focusing on one of the most infamous bosses, Chaser, Scholar of the Burning Blood. Some information about Chaser is that he's a black diver, which is one of the highest ranks in the divers organization, and went rogue when leading an expedition into the second layer of the depths, being involved in basically every single death of the divers, either by killing them himself or being the main cause of them dying. Chaser's boss fight on release was pretty special and interesting, since you didn't actually have to hit Chaser, and all you needed to do was break all of his blood jars and he would die. This was a very cool and just overall new experience, since players, no matter the level, would have a chance at beating him, since the damage that you dealt didn't matter. But after some time after the release of Layer 2, it was changed with his so-called rework, making him have a health bar, and basically removed any chances that let low-level players beat Chaser. People have remarked this rework as one of the worst updates, at least for bosses, since it made a boss fight that used to take around 6 to 8 minutes, depending on how quickly you broke the blood jars, to take around 10 to 15 minutes, and could be lower depending on how much damage you deal, making the Chaser fight just another stat check and makes it really repetitive. Since it seems that the devs won't revert this rework, which is shown because they already nerfed Chaser's HP twice and got rid of the bounders that used to spawn in the boss fight, I've decided to answer this question. How can we make this boss fight better? The first way I came up with that can help improve this boss fight is by scaling Chaser's HP by how much base damage everyone does in the server. For example, if someone was using a Stiletto, which does 11 base damage, the HP of Chaser will be increased less than if someone was using an Evan Spear hand axe, which does 25 base damage, not including the bleed damage. This will make the Chaser fight much easier due to the fact that people who use light weapons won't take 9 years to finish the boss fight, and it will also make it so people who use heavy can't 3-phase Chaser. The next way that I came up with to make Chaser more interesting is to just add more moves to his moveset, since he only has 4 moves in total for the entire boss fight until his last phase. My idea on this is by adding more movesets, which contain 4 moves in total for each moveset. The first moveset would be the one that we currently have, with his 3 blood attack, his blood grab, his fire eruption, and his gas circle move. With these additional movesets, he will have his moveset randomized every time you fight him, and it will depend on what phase he is in. In first phase, which is the phase when you start the fight, he will have a randomized moveset, and when you get him to the second phase, the phase where the ceiling drops and the spikes also drop, he will get a different moveset that isn't the same as the first one. This can help spice up the boss fight and make it feel less than just the same thing over and over until he finally dies, and would be cool seeing what the devs would add as new moves. Now, this next idea that I came up with isn't really related to changing Chaser, but changing a certain oath, this being Arcorder. As everyone knows, Arcorder might be the worst oath to progress, as you need to kill Chaser 6 times. Yep, not 1, not 4, not 5, but 6 times. If you were to do all that in one sitting, it would probably take you around an hour and 30 minutes if your runs are about 20 minutes each, and this is not including downtime in between each run, and is also not including fails if you die. Sitting in front of your monitor for an hour and 30 minutes, killing the same boss and doing the same stuff to actually get to the boss seems and is actually really painful. So something that I feel like should be added is a new talent to Arcorder, and you would get this talent after beating Chaser 2 times, after the module dash. This talent being called Module Vengeance, which basically lets you deal 20% more damage to enemies, NPCs, that use blood magic, and take 5% less damage from any blood magic when using the Arc suit. This is something that should be added, since the oath literally revolves around killing a dude who uses blood magic 6 times, and there isn't a talent that helps you progress it the more you progress it. So this would be cool to see added. This would also help against blood magic when it gets released, due to the 5% less damage taken from any blood magic, which would help it whenever blood magic releases. The final thing that I came up with to make the boss fight feel better is having a diver who is being controlled by Chaser placing blood jars around the arena. This would happen after all of the jars are broken. And you have to kill these divers before the blood jars are placed, otherwise you cannot break the jar until after around like 20 to 30 seconds. This would heal Chaser even more, but these divers do not count as a knock, so you don't actually have to grip them after you kill them, but you would not get an HP pack from it, and you cannot Reaper them, so they wouldn't be a free HP pack. This would be cool if it was added, since you would have to focus not only on Chaser, but also the fact that these guys can place blood jars that would heal Chaser. Before you guys say that this wouldn't be good for the lore, hey, it's something that would make the Chaser boss fight less boring, and so if it messes with the lore, I'm down for it. Anyways, that's all the ideas that I came up with, so if you guys did like them, subscribe and like. And if you guys want me to come up with more ideas for different bosses like Efron or Duke, comment that down below, and have a good day. Peace out.